Hey everyone, it's Mari here, and thanks so much for stopping by my channel today. I have a project here today for the Scrapbook Nerd online shop and blog, and I'm going to be creating a 12 by 12 scrapbooking layout here, starting with this piece of white cardstock, which I have already added some Vicki Boutin white gesso to, and it's nice and dry now. I thought I might go over the edges of this paper, and I just wanted to tape it off just in case I got a little bit overzealous with reaching the edge of the paper. I actually thought I might even create a bit of a straight edge, but that doesn't happen. Anyways, here I go with adding some mixed media. So I've just taken some Vicki Boutin art crayon in teal, and I've scribbled it down on the piece of plastic that comes with the stencil brushes. And I just put that onto that plastic, and now I just took a flat brush and applied that onto my paper, adding a little bit of water here and there. And now I'm just splattering down some of that same color that I've got watered down there, just with a smaller brush. Now I wanted to layer this up with some other colors. So I'm just taking the Vicki Boutin stencil brush and some of the Vicki Boutin stencils, and I'm adding some of this really gorgeous pattern here in kind of the circles in the yellow color over top of that teal. So that teal is all nice and dry. I dried that with my little heat tool, and I'm just adding some of this dry so that the brush is completely dry. I'm just dry brushing this on with that stencil. This is really easy to do. It's a really easy way to add some pattern to your background. It doesn't really add any texture, but I am going to add some texture here now. So I'm just taking some bow bunny stamps that are in a bunch of different circle shapes, and you could use whatever stamps you have in your stash. Vicki Boutin actually has some really great circle stamps that you can use. They're amazing. If I had had those, I definitely would have used those, but I didn't. Now I've just stamped those down in some Versamark ink and added some clear embossing powder to that, and now I'm heating that up to melt that embossing powder, and that's actually just going to add some really cool clear texture to a few different areas there over top of those circles that I have stenciled down. Now I'm taking the script stencil and I'm going to add, now I'm going back to that teal color again, and I'm going to just put that over top of the yellow area there, just really quite dark so that it shows up, and that just adds, once again, a little bit more pattern in the background. I'm basically employing a lot of the same techniques I would in my art journal with the background here for my scrapbooking layout. Now I just want to size this paper down a little bit by about 1/4 of an inch, and I'm going to do that because I'm going to frame the whole layout here on some black and kind of a cream colored pattern paper from the Crepe Paper Here and There collection. So I've got that all adhered down now, and I'm actually going to be using the Crepe Paper Here and There collection for the rest of my layout to embellish everything that I'm going to be doing here. So I took one of those really cool calendar frames from that die cut pack that's specifically just those little calendars, and I just love those. I think they're genius, and I wanted to just combine that over top of my photo of Jordan here because I'm journaling about his visit to Saskatchewan this summer when he was here for the month of July. Now I just wanted to take that specialty paper from Crepe Paper and adhere that to the back of my little calendar frame here with my photo of Jordan, which is in black and white. And I'm just doing that there just to start to create the photo mat. Now I'm also going to take a piece of 6x6 paper that's got some of the yellow in it again, and this is just going to pick up on the yellow that I've used in that Vicki Boutin crayon, and I like how that just complements that color palette. And so I'm basically going to be sticking with black, teal, and yellow as my colors for this layout. Now the Crepe Paper Here and There collection, also you can get these really cool little envelopes, these little journaling envelopes, and that's what that black piece is there. And I just cut a tag from that same pattern paper from my photo mat and added that into that little envelope, and I'm going to do some hidden journaling on that. Now this really distressed ledger paper is from my stash. It's a really old paper from Maggie Holmes' Open Book. And I just wanted something with some text on it. It's kind of a neutral and I love to have text paper in my stash for that purpose. And I wanted to just add that as a last layer there as a base. And I'm going to do some embellishing over top of that larger piece of paper for that on that mat. Now I took my We Are Memory Keepers reinforcer punch and I cut out some paper from the 6x6 pad that matches the color palette with that teal. And I just put that onto the whole of the tag there that I created. And now I'm just going to start to take some of the different embellishments from the crepe paper here and there collection to embellish my layout. And I really had no idea what I wanted to do at this point. So I'm just kind of going to audition some different pieces here and there to try them out. So I'm taking some of the die cuts from the die cut pack from that collection. I'm taking the roller stamp, which I love. It has a lot of really cool sentiments on it. And this one says, happy as can be. And so underneath that die cut, it says, or on that die cut, it says fly and then destination and then happy as can be. Now I just am taking my distressing tool. I just wanted to add a little bit more texture to the photo mat. And I'm just going to texturize that a little bit. That just adds a little bit of detail so that your layout's not quite so flat. And I wanted to just add that there in that way. You will notice, or you probably noticed that when I adhered my photo down, I adhered it with some foam adhesive so that the photo is actually already popped up off of that photo mat. Now I wanted to use some of the rub-ons on this layout that come with the Here and There collection or that you can buy as part of the collection. And I just really love rub-ons. I think they add a really cool addition when you have a really distressed background like this. And so I'm going to use that as another layer on top of my mixed media. Now, one thing I will caution you about is that these rub-ons don't always go down as well when there's a bunch of mixed media behind them. So you just have to know that they're going to look kind of distressed and not perfect. If I was putting them onto just white paper or just plain paper that didn't have gesso or anything on it, they'd go on much more nicely. So this is not the fault of the rub-ons here when you can see that they're kind of going on a little bit like not as nice. That's because of all of that mixed media behind them. And I was okay with that. I was pretty sure that was going to happen anyways, but I was fine with that because it's not meant to look perfect, right? This is a really cool little square rub-on here, and I like changing up the shape. Instead of a circular shape there, it's square, and that one says, I love this place on it. And I just like that sentiment there because it was just nice for Jordan to get home. He hadn't been home since Christmas, and it was just nice for him to get back and spend some time here with his family. So this rub-on I'm putting on right now says explore, and it's an outline of the word explore, and I love that. I think it's really cool, and it just adds a little bit of a different look to that area. And now I am going to, I think I'm going to start working on adding something up to that top corner. Oh no, I'm going to add my little title piece here. So this is one of the puffy acetate stickers that you can get as part of the collection. And this one obviously says trip, and I just like it in black there. I just feel like it really pops. And you know, there's black in the frame around the layout, and then there's that little black envelope and so on. So I just wanted some little pops of black here and there. So that is going to be that little piece there. And I also wanted to add another little bit of black here. Wasn't really loving the look of that little location icon there, so I added the little black arrow instead. Now I'm just going to take some of the little die cuts and stickers and chipboard and create some little layers in that top left-hand corner. And I'm eventually going to do some stitching with my sewing machine up in that area as well. And you'll also see that I'm going to add some more of that rub-on. I'm going to use the rest of that little rub-on strip up in that area there, so that I believe I will have used, I think, that whole complete piece of rub-on by the time I'm finished putting it up in that area there. So just going to add that in with the little popsicle stick that comes with the rub-on pack. And like I said, I am also going to do some messy stitching in white in that area there, and also down onto the area there just above the other rub-ons on the main photo mat. I wanted to add a little bit of the, it's kind of like a coppery, shiny detail, foiling detail that's in the collection. I wanted to add a little bit of that to the layout there as well. So that little sticker to the right of the photo there says my favorite place. And then I'm just going to put one of those little location pins at the top in that same shiny foil. And that compass, I'm actually not going to leave there. I'm going to move that. Now, when I look at these large letters here after, I think, oh yeah, I should have added those, but at the time I just felt like they were too big. I actually just took a little bit of pattern paper from the 6x6 pad and added a notebook punch to the side, and I'm going to add that for a little bit of extra texture here as well. And that's going to wrap up my layout. Other than off camera, I add a few black paint splatters, which you'll be able to see in the still shots that are coming up right away here. Thanks so much for stopping by, guys. And I do have a blog post over at Scrapbook Nerd here about this layout, and hop over to the Scrapbook Nerd shop. You can find all of the products, or the majority of the products I've used here today, over in the shop, including the Vicki Boutin mixed media products and the crepe paper here in their collection. Thank you so much, guys, for stopping by today. I really appreciate it, and I hope you have an amazing day, and I hope to see you back here on my channel another time. Bye-bye.